Good afternoon, colleagues. Welcome to today's edition of the ICASA 2025 Mentorship Program Training for Mentors. Kindly indulge us as we wait for our colleagues to join. We will start at exactly 5 minutes past 1. Thank you. Good afternoon once again to the ICASA 2025 Mentorship Platform Training Program. This is the second edition of the training program. During the first edition, we went through the system of how the mentors would, one, be able to access the abstracts for review, how to leave comments within the system, and how to also complete your review within the system to allow the mentees assigned to you to review the recommendations that you have left in the comments within the system for implementation. So without further ado, I'll move to the system for us to go through this training once again. So once you have successfully registered to be a mentor, you would receive a link to the abstract ICASA 2025 mentorship portal. So this is how the homepage of the portal looks like. So the portal is designed to streamline the review process and provide you with everything you need in one convenient location. So once you get to the home, you log in to open the home page, then you move to the next tab, which is the abstracts. So you click on the abstracts tab to the immediate right of the home. This is where abstracts or mentees that have been assigned, abstracts of mentees that have been assigned to the various mentors will be located. So for the purposes of this demonstration, we have one abstract assigned to a mentee. As you recall, abstracts would be submitted in two options. You have the option 1 and the option 2. So if you look at the lower part, you will find out that Mr. Aqua's abstract has been, he selected the option 1. So to view the abstract, you click on the view button. Once you click on the view button, it brings you to the abstract details page. Here, you would, as a mentor, you would have access to every detail of the abstract for your review, beginning with the abstract title. So you would have the abstract title indicated in the title bar. You would also see the presentation type. The presentation type, like I mentioned earlier, there are two presentation types, option 1 and option 2. So for the purposes of this demonstration, the abstract that was submitted, the presenter or mentee chose option 1. So you go to the immediate left where you have the theme and the key words. So this abstract was selected under track C. There are 5 abstract tracks. This abstract was selected or submitted under track C, and you have the sub-track or sub-theme being C1, Natural History of HIV. Then you go to the next portal, which is the ATA and affiliations, where you find out the details of the ATA and a short bio. From there, you go to the abstract itself. And here, the mentor would have access to the body of the abstract, for which he or she would review the abstracts. So for option 1, you have the introduction, you have the literature review, you have the data analysis, you have the results and the findings, as well as the conclusion. So here we kindly indulge our mentors to kindly take their time to review the body of the abstracts. So after going through the body of the abstract, we now move to the additional information page. If there's any additional information, it will be indicated here. If not, you now move to the review submission portal. Once you click on the review submission portal, you have the reviewer notes. With the reviewer notes, this is where the mentor would share its notes on the abstract that he or she has reviewed. The reviewer notes is not seen by the mentee. The reason for this proposition is that the mentor may begin reviewing the abstract and may identify a few items, and he or she may choose to list these reviews under the reviewer notes. And for whatever reason, he or she may not be able to complete the review. So these notes are essential for the mentor so that when he or she gets back to the review submission portal, he will be up to date with where he left off and continue with the review process. So you now, beneath the reviewer notes, you have what we call the comments to utter type box. Here, this is where the recommendations after the review of the abstract would be shared with the mentee. So in this type box, which reads comment to utter, this is where the mentor would share the identified issues or reviews of the submitted abstracts. And this is where he or she may proffer guidance to the mentee for implementation by the mentee. So once you have indicated your comments to the mentee under the comment utter type box, then you now have the option to return to utter for editing or update. For the purposes of ICASA, we do not encourage the mentors to update the abstracts directly, even though the option update is provided here. We would kindly request that all mentors choose the return to utter editing option so that the mentee would be able to implement the changes or the reviews by himself or herself and resubmit to the mentor for assessment. However, if you receive an abstract from a mentee and you have gone through the process of review and you notice that the abstract does not need any review and is good to go, you come to the review completed text box. So you have to tick, you as the mentor has to tick the completed checkbox. Once you click the completed checkbox, then you click submit completed review. This means that you have gone through the abstract and per your expertise and assessment, the abstract is ready for review. However, if, as I mentioned earlier, you've gone through the abstract and you realize that there's some need for improvements, which you have captured in the comments to ATA type box, then you don't check the completed text box. You click return to ATA for editing. So once you click on the return to ATA for editing option, it takes you back to the abstract page. If you notice below at the bottom of the page, under status, the status has now been changed to allowed to edit. This means that the mentee would now be allowed to update or edit his or her abstract based on the reviews submitted by the mentor. So previously, the mentee would not have been allowed to edit. However, now that the mentor has sent the abstract back to the mentee for review, he or she would be allowed to edit the abstract. So you will find out that the allowed to edit button will now be active for the mentee. So let's go back to the review submission portal. So for the purposes of this training exercise, let's assume that the abstract is perfect and it's ready for review. You choose, once again, you choose the complete third tick box, and then you click submit completed review. Once again, if you look at the bottom of the page, once you click submitted review, the completed, under the completed section, there's a tick. This means that you have gone through the abstracts and the abstract is good to go for review after the abstract submission has closed in May. Also, for the purposes of this demonstration, there's only one abstract listed here. However, there may be multiple abstracts listed here depending on the number of mentors we receive, the number of mentees we receive per track. This would determine the number of mentees allocated to a mentor. Thank you very much for this. I'll now stop sharing and we will now open the floor for questions. Thank you. Thank you once again. So now the floor is open for any question. Kindly raise your hand and you would be asked to unmute and proceed to ask your question. This demonstration is also being recorded and it will be shared with all mentors after the session. Thank you. Colleagues, like I've stated earlier, if you have any question or you need any clarification, kindly raise your hand for the Secretariat to be able to assist you. We also want to welcome Reverend Jane Nganga, who is the coordinator of the Abstract ICASA 2025 Abstract Mentorship Program. You are welcome. Okay, thank you. We have a question in the chat. It states, is there opportunities to interact with the mentee virtually or otherwise apart from the platform? Yes. So when we assign the mentees to the mentor via email, we share their emails with the mentor. So the mentor or mentee can reach out to the mentor to have further discussions. However, as seen in the presentation, we kindly encourage mentors to input their reviews through the system. You notice that even though abstracts from the mentees are assigned to the mentors, in the system, the status of the abstract reads abstract submitted. This means that the abstract has been submitted and is pending abstract review after the abstract submission process closes at the end of May. If the changes are not reflected through the system or communicated through the system to the mentee, the abstract that was submitted in its initial form is what would go for review. So in as much as we mentors and mentees can communicate via email, we do highly suggest that the reviews should be submitted through the system. Because once you submit the review through the system, the mentee is notified via email, and he or she will be given a number of days to go through the system to implement the changes from the mentor to his or her abstract and resubmit the said abstract back to the mentee for final review. So this process can go back and forth depending on how the assessment of the mentor. So we do encourage that even though there will be email exchanges of emails between the mentor and the mentee, we do kindly encourage that mentors share their reviews through the system. Okay, we have a hand up by Pamara Man. Please, you have the floor.
Oui, oui, allô, bonjour. Bonjour, vous m'entendez? Allô, bonjour, est-ce que vous m'entendez?
Yes, we can hear you. Please proceed. Kindly ask your question.
D'accord, merci beaucoup. Merci pour l'exposé. Je crois que l'exposé a été très clair. En fait, si vous voyez que j'ai baissé la main, parce que dans votre réponse à la question écrite, mes préoccupations ont été prises en compte. C'était pour voir est-ce qu'après avoir mis nos observations sur l'abstract que nous avons regardé et retourné au mentoré, est-ce qu'on va encore recevoir, après qu'ils aient, on va encore recevoir l'abstract pour faire une deuxième après correction de l'auteur. Je crois que vous avez un peu abordé dans ce sens tout à l'heure quand vous parlez. Merci. Merci beaucoup.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mani. Yes, like you indicated, once you click on the resubmit to author or edit option after you have given your review, the mentee will receive, like you said, you indicated earlier, he will receive an email notifying him that the mentor has made a review or has reviewed the abstract. So the mentee would be given between 1 to 7 days to go back into the system and implement the changes or read the reviews from the mentor. Once the mentee has implemented those changes and resubmitted, the mentor would also receive an email from the system stating that the mentee has reviewed the abstract again. Then, as a mentor, you also have to go back into the system and then also see or assess whether the mentee has implemented to the best of his or her ability the review that you have given. Once you notice that he or she has done that, that is when you now click, you now check the completed check button at the end. And then you have the complete review option in green. And once you click that, that means that you have cleared the abstract to be ready for the review process. As we indicated also within the previous training, it is very important to state that even though mentors may share their reviews with the mentees and the mentees implement them, it's not a guarantee that your abstract will be selected at the conference. Because after this process, you now have what we call the abstract reviewer process, which will take place from 7th July. So the abstracts would also undergo review, applying peer review from the abstract reviewer team as well. And that is where the status of your abstract will be determined. However, the mentorship program is an opportunity to give mentees, especially young researchers, the needed guidance so as to have their abstracts be competitive enough to have higher marks and pass the abstract review process. Thank you very much. We have another question from Samuel Mwaniki. It states, is there a timeline for when mentees should submit their abstracts and mentors their comments now that all this should be completed before the abstract submission deadline? Thank you very much. This is a very important question. Like I indicated earlier, once the mentee has submitted the abstract to the mentor and the system has allocated the mentee's abstracts to the mentor goes through these abstracts and shares his or her review. We normally give a 1-week window for the mentee to respond to the comments or the reviews of the mentor. That same process also applies to the mentor. Once the mentee has resubmitted the abstract based on your review, you also have a window of opportunity to also review the resubmitted abstract to make sure that it is in line with your previous review. Also, this process would be ongoing from 1st March to 31st May, because after the abstract submission closes, the mentorship program also closes. That is why we are also opening the abstract mentorship program simultaneously with the abstract submission on 1st March. So, like I also stated earlier, that is one reason why we also encourage the mentors to use the system, so that the mentees may be able to update their abstracts themselves within the system. Because if these changes are not done through the system, the initial abstract that was shared with by the mentee to the mentor is what would go for review. However, if the abstracts assigned to the mentor from the mentees are reviewed and the mentees implement these changes through the system, we now have the most updated version of these abstracts in the system, which will now also give the mentees a better chance for their abstracts to be selected during the abstract review process. Thank you very much. Okay, we have a hand up from Nosimilo. Please, you have the floor.
Yes, hi. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, thank you. Thank you so much for taking us through the process. I just wanted, my question is almost similar to the previous one, but I'm just requesting for clarity. For the first submission, like before you review the abstracts from the mentee, how long do you have? Let's say, for example, I received the abstracts today for the first time. How long are you giving the mentors a chance to review and send the abstract back to the author?
Okay, thank you very much. Normally, we give a 1-week window. However, this will also depend on the number of mentees assigned to the mentor, because we want the mentees to have as much as possible the fastest time for them to go back and implement the reviews from the mentor. So we encourage that even though the mentor has a 1-week window, if he or she notices that they have, maybe you have been assigned about 10 mentees, it means that you need to do more by reviewing the abstracts maybe earlier than the 1-week window, so that you can have more opportunities for the mentees to resubmit the abstract. So normally it's a 1-week interval we give from the notice of allocation of mentees to your initial review of their abstracts. Then they now have, the mentee also have 1-week window to also implement the changes. And then once they resubmit and you get the email notification that Mr. A or Madam B has resubmitted the abstract, then you now go back into the system and also review. So that is how the interval would be till the abstract submission deadline of 30th May. Also, we do acknowledge that, like Dr. Muna stated during the previous training exercise, we do acknowledge that sometimes we are human, and we may have certain emergencies that would not allow the mentors to review the submissions on time. So we would also take it up as a secretariat to also notify and send reminders to the mentors that you have 3 abstracts pending review, and so that we can also give them the chance to review. However, if we notice that after consistent notice that the mentor, for 1 or 2 reasons, may not be able to review the allocated abstracts from the mentees, then we have a system in place where we allocate these abstracts to other mentors, so that the review process, the mentorship process, can go on accordingly. Thank you. Do we have any more? Okay. Yes, Mr. Francis, you have the floor. Mr. Francis, kindly unmute and you have the floor. Hello, Mr. Francis? Yapo? We cannot hear you. Okay, maybe Mr. Yapu may be facing a technical challenge. So you can move on. If anybody, any other person has a question, please feel free to raise your hand or drop it in the chat. Okay, so we seem to not have any further questions. On behalf of, maybe I would allow Madam Jane Nganga to share a few words before we conclude. Okay, so
yes, but
yes, thank you. For a minute, we thought we lost you. Please, you have the floor. Can you share any concluding remarks before we close the session?
okay. Just to say how grateful we are that you are able to attend this second cohort of the training. We appreciate your coming, and we hope that the training was quite helpful and that we will continue interacting so that we can have, as we start the mentorship, then we are all well focused and we understand what needs to be done. Feel free to continue getting in touch in case of any questions, but we are truly grateful for this opportunity and we look forward even to continue as interactions. I'm also available on email for any requests or anything that probably you would need clarity on together with the rest of the team. And we look forward to a successful implementation of the mentorship program. So thank you so much for coming and we wish you a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. Before we conclude, I want to state that in case during the review process, any mentor is having any challenges in terms of an abstract that is submitted, there is a core team of very astute and experts formed to assist the mentor. So we will be sharing this contact information via email where we share the recording to the presentation. Also for the mentors, if you are having any technical issue with the platform, there's also an email contact that will be shared after the review for you to also contact the Secretariat in case of any technical challenges. Maybe you have a button or a functionality within the system, it's not working at your end. You can kindly use that email and the ICASA Secretariat would respond to you appropriately. Also, if you have any challenges with an abstract for which you need further guidance or clarity, there's also an email that will be shared with you where you can also contact the core members of the abstract mentorship program for their assistance. On this note, on behalf of the ICASA Director, Mr. Lukama Budia, and the Abstract Mentorship Program committee and the ICASA secretary, we would like to extend our gratitude to all participants who joined this training session. As indicated during the last training, this is the first cohort of the ICASA mentorship program. So we are grateful that participants have taken the time off to help guide and mentor future young and prospective researchers. So on behalf of the ICASA director, Mr. Luke Amambudi, I'd like to also reiterate our gratitude for and support for you joining this mentorship program. Thank you and see you soon. Do have a lovely day. Bye-bye.